3,804,927. What does that number represent to the city of Jakarta? Is it the population of this bustling city? No, Jakarta has much more people than that. Is it the number of households in Jakarta? Close enough, but still not fully right. So what is that number exactly? Well, that number, that really large number, is actually the amount of registered cars around Jakarta according to the Indonesian police database. 3.8 million cars. Well, no wonder the roads are always congested. With that amount of cars, you would think that most people would try to stay safe on the road. But for most Indonesians, all that matters is the thrill of speeding, corner cutting to save time, and of course, the occasional ego-driven road rages. One topic of safe driving hidden under all of those blatant traffic violations is seatbelt usage. Most drivers and passengers here in the front know that seatbelt usage is something that is undebatable in their effectiveness and therefore use them because they do realize it's important or through reluctance not to get fined. However, are we forgetting something here? Because not only are we sitting here in the front, the rise of ride-hailing apps such as Grab or Gojek means that more often than not we are now sitting here in the back, where seatbelt usage is much less prominent. And that could lead to some major implications. It must be said that the usage of seatbelts have rapidly increased in the past 30 years due to new legislation and increased awareness. But the fact of the matter is some still refuse to wear their seatbelts at the front, so just imagine how much less would wear one in the back. According to a study done in 2021 concerning rear seatbelt usage in Bandung, only 4.2% out of a total observed number of just under 40,000 rear seat usage results in a person buckling up. 4.2% is less than 2,000 people, which means over 95% is endangering not just themselves, but also the driver or anyone around them. What do I mean by rear seat passengers endangering others? Well, another study found that unbelted occupants could increase the risk of injury of others in the car by 40%. It jumps to a staggering 137% if that person is sitting right behind the driver. Just take a look at these tests conducted by organizations in the US. With seatbelts, the passengers at the back of the car are protected and held in place. But without seatbelts, the passenger is flung towards the driver in a brutal manner. The rear passenger's chances of receiving serious injuries increases significantly due to them being exposed to the car's hard interior. The driver, meanwhile, being crushed by the weight of the rear dummy, would also receive broken bones, internal damage, or even brain injuries. So what is there to do to help people get used to wearing their seatbelts in general and especially in the back? One answer is to enforce lawmakers to impose more policies and put out mandates. Since the law requiring front seatbelts has been here for years, rear seatbelts should also be included in the law. Another is the increase of seatbelt reminders in a car. Whether you're sitting in the front or the rear seat, an audible warning should be available and be long enough to be a nuisance or force them to wear it. Lastly, a more deeply rooted answer is to just embed the mindset of seatbelt usage as a habit. Anyone can get used to something if done often enough. And rear seatbelt usage is an easy and crucial thing to learn which we can pass on to future generations. No excuse should exist on why someone should not wear their seatbelts while in the car. At the end of the day, seatbelt usage is something that we should really pay more attention to, especially here in third world countries like Indonesia, where it is treated as an afterthought. So often do I see people blaming deaths on just straight up being unlucky, but it turns out they're not even wearing their seatbelts. This mindset should stop because it is both the drivers and passengers' responsibility to keep themselves safe in a vehicle. Since no one plans to have a crash, why treat it until it's too late? So please, the next time you go on the road, buckle up and wear your seatbelt. Doing so might just save you and someone else's life.